thought about giving up once in my life. I had a teacher who gave me a really tough time, and I struggled with the work. I got so mad I just would let the assignment go until it was overdue because I got so irritated. The teacher wouldn't work with me, wouldn't cooperate. We had a lot of issues and didn't agree on things. I ended up talking to a dean about dropping out, and I decided, why am I going to let someone else impact me so much that I stopped everything I'm doing with my life? And I kept going. And now I'm still here, and I graduate next May. So very excited. And the times whenever I thought about quitting were very hard. It was because I'm a big geek. I love keeping good grades, going to school. It's a big thing for me. So it was really tough to the point where I wanted to quit so bad. I hated it so much. I'm glad I did it. That was those moments.
I did have a lot of moments of helplessness in my childhood. I still have them occasionally. They're not as drastic as it was back then. It was often brought about by family issues. My sister once went missing, she went to jail. My brother was going over a lot of stress, and it's a bit awful. I used to pray to God that since suicide was a sin, that he would just take me out. Like someone would break into the house and kill me with a gun, that something would happen and I just would not live. And then in the morning I'd always be like, I'm sorry, that was out of line. That was out of pocket. I'm sorry for asking you to do that. Gradually I just stopped doing that because I realized that that's just such an unkind thing to ask of another person. It's kind of the concept of euthanasia. How could I ask another person to kill me when they love me so dearly? And I started to, instead of focusing on how helpless I felt, the things that I could control, and the things I could do to make that time enjoyable.
It happens to everybody at some point, but for me, it's all about remembering what the goal is, right? So even when it feels like, it's unattainable, and maybe that there's no point in continuing, it helps to remember why that became the goal to begin with, right? So what led me to want to do the thing to begin with? And then from there, it helps to think about, okay, so maybe I can't get to the whole goal today, but what can I do today? What's one tiny single thing that I can do today that puts me in the right direction? And so sometimes that's even, builds momentum, right? So you do one tiny thing, and then tomorrow you can do another tiny thing, and then it all snowballs from there, right? So you feel like you're not so stagnant anymore, But if I'm gonna be really honest with you, there have been times that I have given up on goals, right? So things seem like they're unattainable, you end up in a difficult place, and I think it's okay to just struggle for a while. I think it's okay to take a minute and readjust and get your bearings back on reality. And sometimes your goals change, right? So sometimes you think, maybe that's not the thing that I want to do anymore. Maybe that's not the direction I want to be headed. So I think that's okay too.
Yeah, I think that's a common experience, and that people have moments when they feel like giving up. I've used a variety of methods to get through. One is to remind myself, like, if whatever the event is, one, that it has an end. It can't go on forever. And then, like, if it were some deadline that I was dreading or, whatever, I'm like, okay, but in X number of hours or X number of days, it will be behind me. So I can do this, Sometimes the means of getting through is just like, okay, what's my ultimate goal? You have those moments, you have a test or a paper or something, and you're like, I can't do this, And you're just like, okay, but ultimately, the big goal, the major goal, this is a step you have to take to get there, right? And so you're like, okay. Besides looking at the big goals, it's like, okay, who do I want to be? When I had personal crises, it's like, well, who do I want to be in this moment? Who do I want to be as a person? And really evaluate what I want in the moment.